Thanks for coming back to my channel, everybody. I really appreciate everyone's support. Where I am today is East Coast Supercharging yet again. I don't know what happened. I literally came down here for an interview one day, and I keep coming back, and they don't kick me out, and I just keep coming back and having fun. So one of the things I'm going to be doing today is hanging out with the fabricator. He's the in-house fabricator. His name is Glenn. A lot of people don't realize when you buy an ECS supercharging kit that most of the parts are actually manufactured and produced in-house. So I'm going to be hanging out with him. He's actually going to teach me how to weld with his aluminum welder. I've welded many things in the past, but I've never actually used an aluminum welder before, so this is going to be kind of cool. And I'm going to show you guys some footage on the different parts they make. I was blown away by how much stuff they actually do in-house. It's really cool. So yeah, I'm going to, as soon as Glenn's freed up, I'm going to cut over to hanging out with him and him showing me how to weld. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay guys, so I was able to find Glenn. I asked him before we do any kind of welding to kind of show me what he does with these intercoolers. I thought they were really cool to talk about because they actually make them from scratch. So, well, yeah, so here we are. So these are all the parts. I just basically wanted you to explain what each part is and the process.
All right. So this is the bottom intercooler tank. This actually sits under here. And attached to it is the blowout valve tube, or the fitting. And then we have just some plumbing on the other side to put a hose on. This actually gets hooked up to a U-tube that we actually make here too. And on top, we have the fitting here, the top tank. We got two plates on the side here. One sits right here, and the other sits on the other side.
Now, is there a reason that you... Well, actually, what I should ask is what type of aluminum is this? What is it made out of?
This, I believe, is 5054. I'm gonna have to check the specs again.
Okay.
But yeah, 6061 is no good because it doesn't bend. If you were to grab a piece of 6061, it would actually snap while you went to go bend it. So we try to keep with the most malleable material. You know what I mean? But
so this is the most malleable material, but it can handle the most, because obviously that intercooler's got to be handled sometimes 35
yeah.
pounds of pressure, right?
Yep.
Yeah, anything weaker it'll just blow open, I assume.
Blow open,
yeah.
Yep.
And then I said earlier today that you use a TIG welder. Is there a reason for using a TIG welder versus like a MIG welder?
MIG welding, you're gonna need a spool gun. Spool
Okay.
guns are more for, like, you know, kind of getting the job done faster, or maybe even like more versatile if you're trying to just buzz something down real quick.
Mm-hmm.
TIG welding, you're really not going to get a bead like you are like on here with a spool gun.
Yeah, you could see the I mean, I'm not as good as you, but you could see the penetration on the welds. It's real deep, and you want that deep penetration. It's for strength, I assume, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, so we're gonna cut over. The next thing he's gonna do is show me how his equipment works. I thought it was really cool to do that today with him. So yeah, we're gonna cut over to that now. Okay, everybody, so we switched over. I'm hanging out by Glenn's workspace, and he's going to kind of go over everything that he does or the tools that he uses.
All right, so right now I'm using an Everlast. It's not too bad. It has all the balance and the frequency settings that you're going to need, you know what I mean, that you're doing a lot of aluminum welding with. I believe the frequency goes to like 220. But when you're doing like, especially like an open joint like this, a corner joint, you're going to want to keep it more towards like the lower frequency. You're going to want to keep it more towards like 60 hertz or something like that. I usually keep my balance at like 30. I think I use what, 4043?
What is that the rod, the 4043 rod?
Yeah. I use 4043 rod. It's just, you know, typical standard welding rod. And yeah, if you want, we could.
Yeah, sure. I want to watch you do it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that came out amazing. So I noticed you were kind of laying, you lay your hand down so you can get like a nice straight.
Yeah, I like to keep my hand down a little bit. And what I'll do sometimes is I'll put the tungsten in just enough so the cup is touching both pieces. And I could just kind of slide it across while you know, sliding the filler rod in between the two.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like high-powered soldering almost.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like, right?
Just about.
And that's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to give it a shot, man.
Yeah, sure, I would love to.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right, so I guess first things first, what is this called?
Oh, that's your torch.
The torch, okay. I thought it was called a diode. I guess maybe that's not a welding term. Is a diode a welding term?
Somewhat. It can be called. More of electrode.
Electrode. That might have been what it was, electrode.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I'm here sitting with you. I want to learn this stuff. And then what is the foot pedal doing?
The foot pedal is adding amperage or subtracting amperage. So if you put your foot all the way down and your setting's at 100 amps, you're going to get 100 amps out of your weld.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Yeah, and if you, let's say halfway, you're going to get 50 amps out of your weld.
Okay.
It's half of 100. You know what I mean?
I thought it was just on and off like an arc welder.
Nope.
Yeah, or a, this is a TIG welder, right?
You got it.
And a MIG welder is basically an arc welder, right? A MIG welder?
A MIG welder, the only difference between that is it's wire fed,
Okay.
and there's gas involved.
Okay.
You're going to use a 75-25 mix.
That's right. Mine has no gas. That's why it's an arc welder.
Exactly.
Is that why? Okay. All right. That makes sense. Hopefully the camera can hear us because it is a little loud.
Yeah.
So when you're welding, right? You're keeping your hand steady,
Yep.
right? You're keeping it steady. What are you doing with the pedal? Are you about halfway with what you just did now?
I set it so you could actually put it all the way down.
Okay, that makes sense. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, I figured why not, you know what I mean, make it a little easy. But, you know, towards the end of your welds, you're always going to want to let off a little bit.
Okay.
This way, especially on like the corner joint, like if you were all the way at the end over there where the material ends, you'll start getting real hot towards the end because you're running out of material for the heat to distribute.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I see this zip tied up over here. I just learned recently, after watching welding videos for years, that how much weight this starts to weigh when you're too far from the machine, and when it has like a
nice like swoop in it.
Yeah, like the swoop actually adds like 50 pounds sometimes, and you just can't move this thing. So, all right, cool. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Do your thing, brother.
Wow.
Getting hot on you?
Yeah, so this is melting before I get to the metal. Am I going too far down? Is that why?
You could probably give yourself about 1/8 of an inch between the tungsten and the material.
So I'm basically like this, right? Am I too close?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, once you start to hit the material on the tungsten, that's when you should start like backing off on the torch a little bit. This way you can, you really want it like a consistent distance away.
Okay. Okay.
And then once you see that puddle start to form, that's when you really want to start adding your material.
So why is that turning black right now?
What that is contamination.
Okay.
Usually what you'll do there is you'll just grab like a piece of Scotch-Brite or something and just kind of clean that up again.
So is the contamination in the metal, or is it from smoke from me doing this?
It's kind of like soot.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Just, yeah.
Like I said, this is fun. This is why I'm here. So.
Of course, man.
All right, cool. So, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So that's a very cold weld.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong because as soon as I
go to add
as soon as I put this in,
just balling up.
Yeah. Why would it do that?
You might be not letting it heat up enough to the point where it's actually going to start to pool on your metal.
Oh, am I moving too fast with the rod? Is that what's happening?
Try to let like the pool create itself.
Okay.
I'll even turn up the heat a little bit on you.
Okay.
This way it'll kind of cool itself. Yeah, give that a shot. But once you start to see like a pool, that's when you're going to want to start to add your material.
Okay.
And if you start right on the weld where I left here, it usually seems to like pool up a lot faster for you.
When you say pool, am I looking for this metal to pool up?
Yeah, you're gonna
okay.
start to see like a molten piece of aluminum.
Okay, that's what I was making a mistake. I'm watching this pool and I'm trying to move. I didn't realize it was the metal doing it.
You can leave that as far as you want until that's pulled up, and then once that begins to pool, that's when you can start.
You see it gets sucked in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it would look like that. So yeah, so you know what I realized? I guess the amperage might not have been up high enough, but when it starts to pool, I'm basically I'm dropping it in. You actually watch it get sucked into the metal.
Yeah.
And then you're actually carrying that. You're moving the pull with it.
You're manipulating it forward. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. That was exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, man.
You mind if I do like one more like 3-inch bead real quick?
Man.
That was fun.
Yeah, of course.
Oh wow. I'm really excited. I loved it.
Yeah, those are decent, man.
Meanwhile, like there's people that are excited to go watch like a football game, and I'm like, ooh, I get to go MIG welding today. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm like a little kid right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you just said it, but I feel like maybe the amperage is too high. Is that why it's
a little bit
sunk in a little bit
I
like
only
that?
brought it up like 5 amps.
Yeah, but you have the ability to control this pedal. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just full throttle, so it looks like I'm too hot now.
A little bit.
Right? Okay, cool.
A little bit.
I know a little bit of stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, man. And
Great.
then, you know, practice makes perfect.
All right, so what would you tell somebody who maybe is seeing this video for the first time? It's the first video they've ever seen someone welding. What would you recommend if they wanted to get into it? Like I myself, I bought a welder like 12 years ago. It's just a simple Lincoln arc welder.
Yeah.
I use it on everything, but it can only do so much.
Yeah.
So what would you tell somebody who maybe was going to buy their first welder, or maybe want to try and get into this? Like, how did you get into it?
I went to body school. Take a class and educate yourself. You know, do your research. You don't want to go out and buy something that's very expensive and realize this isn't for you. You know what I mean? Because it isn't for everybody.
Very true.
And honestly, I learned a lot off YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And don't get down on yourself. Believe me, I've been welding for about like 8 or 9 years now, and I've gotten down on myself, you know what I mean? Which you really shouldn't do, because you're gonna get better. You just gotta keep practicing, you know what I mean?
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, this is exciting. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a blast. Just creating something out of nothing, it's just like, whoa, dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, something out of nothing. I mean, that's probably why most of us get into cars, because there's not many avenues for you to make something out of nothing elsewhere. In fact, nowadays they used to teach welding in school. Now you have to go to a tech school, if they even have it anymore. Shop class is gone.
Yeah.
You can I don't even think they do computer class anymore.
No.
You know, it's just it's sickening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
no direction.
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show the welds.
Yeah.
Professional versus new guy. Professional, new guy. Okay, so I'm back in the dyno room. I left Glenn alone. That was probably the most fun I've had in a long time. I absolutely loved the weld, and it was really cool being able to weld aluminum firsthand. You know, I've been trying to figure out the type of welder I want to get for my garage at home, because I'm going to be building cars coming up that require some aluminum parts to be welded, and I just couldn't quite figure out what I wanted to get. And the equipment he uses is actually pretty nice equipment, so I might actually try and get something like that for my own garage.
But you know, this was awesome. I really enjoyed doing that, and it's really cool seeing all the different things East Coast Supercharging does, and being able to sit here and weld at East Coast Supercharging is like a dream come true for me. But yeah, if you guys like these kinds of videos where I'm showcasing different types of products, or showcasing different types of industries or different types of industrial work, just let me know. Comment below, and I'll try and keep stuff like this coming. But thanks again, everybody. I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate the feedback, and have a very nice day.